Okay, we're finding the area of the trapezoids, and of course, you should know that the bases are the parallel sides right there and there, right? Those are going to be the bases. But we've got to figure something out. We don't know what the height is. Again, forgive my voice, but we don't know what the height is. And the height is going to be this length right here. But aha, look at this. I'm going to trace this triangle out completely. And if you remember your Pythagorean triples, then you'll know that there is one called the 3, 4, 5 right triangle. We know that's a right angle because that's a linear pair with a 90-degree angle, so that's also 90 degrees. So we've got the 3, 4, 5 right triangle. If you didn't know that, if you didn't remember that, you could then just look at it and say this. Let's get rid of all of that. You could say, okay, well, I know that that's a right triangle. I know that that's a right angle right there. So we've got one of the legs is 3, so 3 squared, plus the other leg we don't know, b squared, equals the hypotenuse that we do know, 5 squared. And then we say 9 plus b squared is 25. Subtract 9 from both sides, and we get b squared equals 16. And then when we square root both sides, we get b is equal to, remember, 4 times 4 is 16. Negative 4 times negative 4 is also 16. So 16 square roots to negative 4 and also positive 4. But of course, we're talking about a length, and so we can't have a negative length. So the only one that makes sense is to pick the positive square root of it. Okay? And that means then when we found that leg, and we know that, I'm going to erase up here and just mark it, we know that that's 4. All right, we found something that we weren't given, but we were smart enough to know that we could figure out on our own. They gave us enough information to find it. So sometimes you don't need to be spoon-fed every single piece of information. You can say, they gave me enough to go on. I can figure out the rest. So now we've got a base of 6 right here. And we've got another base of this opposite side is 6 from there to there, plus the other 3 is 9, right? So we've got a base of 6, a base of 9, and a height of this height right here. Oops. This height right here of 4. Okay, so let's throw in our formula here just to take a look at it. Trapezoids. And let's fill in what we know. Okay, we know that the height is 4. We calculated that. The bases are 6 given and 9 figured out from knowing that the opposite side of the rectangle is also 6 plus the 3 from the triangle. So we've got then 1/2 times 4 times 15. And we can take half of 4. Half of 4 is 2. So we're then doing 2 times 15, and that is 30. What's the units? Feet squared. That's the area of that trapezoid. Okay. Let's do that one more time. Let's see what we know or what we need to find out. So, based on what we know, if this triangle, let's look at this triangle here. Oops. That triangle, it's best I can do, sorry. That triangle has a leg of, we don't know, a squared, plus a leg of 8 squared equals a hypotenuse of 10 squared. A squared equals, plus 64 equals 100. Subtract 64 from both sides. And we get a squared is equal to 36. Again, because we're dealing with lengths, we can only do the positive square root of 36, which is 6. And we found out that this length down on the bottom, let me erase all of our calculations first. This length down here on the bottom is 6. That right there. And in fact, this is just the 3, 4, 5 triangle scaled up by a factor of 2. That's 3 times 2, 4 times 2, and 5 times 2. And if you recognize that, you would have known that that length that I've just marked was 6 no matter what. Okay? So if that length is 6, and if you look up at the top, you have that length of 6, and we know then that must mean, since there's 90-degree angles there, that that's also 6. So you've got another 6. So this total length here, this total length there is 12. So we've got, throwing in our formula to plug in all the numbers, we've got, excuse me, 1/2 times, what is the height? The height is 8. It's given, indicated right there. Times the sum of the bases. The bases are 6 and 12. So if we wanted to calculate this in our heads, we could say, okay, well, first we have to do what's in parentheses first and simplify that. 6 plus 12 is 18. And then, what should we take half of? Let's take half of 18. Yeah, we could take half of 8 and get 4. But let's take half of 18, and then you'll see what happens. If we take half of 18, and the 8 stays what it is, half of 18 is 9, and now you're dealing with 2 single-digit numbers. And hopefully you know all that multiplication. 8 times 9 is 72. And what are the units? Meters squared. That's the area of the whole thing. Yeah, that's it. I love it.